Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video on my channel, Financial Wealth Community. If you're new here, I'm Jackie Stewart, and this is the channel where I talk about building wealth, I talk about business and personal finances. So today we are going to be talking about imposter syndrome in financial success. You would be surprised as to how many people actually suffer from imposter syndrome as general, but today we are talking about as it relates to financial success. So we're going to look at what it is, why it happens, and most importantly, how we can overcome it. So let's begin with the what. What is imposter syndrome in financial success? And what we're talking about here is when you feel as though you don't deserve, or you have acquired a level of success, but you think it was just down to luck. Or it could be around where you think other people perceive you to have much, but you yourself don't feel like you have much. So it can have different implications, and most of the time that comes from how you're seeing yourself and what you think money is as well. I mean, I can think of a time when for me, I actually felt like people thought I was more successful than I thought I was. And what I mean is I got a contract for a job, which I did very well. And I got the contract based on merit. But I told myself that the only reason I got this contract was because I knew the person. And that's why they paid me quite well for it. That is a type of imposter syndrome. It's like self-sabotaging, like almost as though I felt like I didn't deserve it, I just became lucky. So that's one way it can affect people. Another way it can affect people is I remember a client that I had, and she had inherited some money, yet she was talking to me about what she didn't have. All she could see was what she didn't have. It was almost as though the money that was inherited wasn't hers. She hadn't accepted that it was actually her money. So that's two examples of imposter syndrome. So why does it happen? So a lot of the times it's because or due to limiting beliefs. It's due to things that you were told or you tell yourself. So have you heard that saying? I mean, most of us or someone at some point in their life probably heard the saying, money doesn't grow on trees, right? I remember I heard that a lot. And I think I've even said it, right, in my past. I don't say it anymore, but I used to say money doesn't grow on trees, right? Or it could be this perception that if you're rich, and define rich, but if you've got money or if you've got wealth, that somehow you're greedy, or you somehow acquired it using crime, for example. It's a bad thing. And it's something I definitely did struggle with. I definitely have struggled with this, what is it to be wealthy, or why should we try to build wealth, and what does it mean? And it's a thin line, right? I mean, I'm glad I've done so much research over this that I've got over that feeling of it's a negative thing. And I now realize why it's important. If I want to really help people, I need something to be able to help people with. Anyway, enough of that. So that's why it can happen. It's things that you've told yourself, or that you've heard rather, all those limiting beliefs, and we've spoken about this before. That's why it can happen. So then how can we overcome it? How can we overcome imposter syndrome? And so there's lots of different things, or lots of ways that we can do this. And one of the ways is to reframe what you're telling yourself. So when those thoughts come up into your mind telling you you're not good enough, or you don't deserve it, or whatever the case may be, you want to turn that around and change it into something possible. Yeah, I do deserve it. I've worked really hard. And even if it is something that I inherited it because the person who gave it to me obviously thought I was worthy of it, right? So start to turn around those phrases or those negative thoughts. And then you also maybe want to follow some positive influences. I remember when I was starting this journey, when I was first starting my channel, and I wanted to talk about money and building wealth. And as I said, it's something I've struggled with before. But I remember following some influencers who spoke about it freely and even feeling icky about it. Like when they start talking about it, I'm thinking, oh my God, why are they talking so much about money and how much money they've got? And it used to make me feel uncomfortable. But I purposely, intentionally started to listen to these people so I could understand them and their story and where they were coming from. And so now I can listen to them and it does not feel uncomfortable at all. So that's what you need to do. Maybe follow some positive influencers and see where they're coming from, right? Because actually, as we should know by now, and if you don't, I will tell you, you have a personality. And if you are a greedy person and you acquire more money, you will still be more greedy. If you are a person who likes to give and help people and you acquire more money, you will still help people, okay? Your personality should not just change because of money. So how else can we do it? So social media, that's another one, isn't it, right? That's one where we can do that comparison thing that can give us imposter syndrome, because on social media, it appears that everybody's doing well. You're looking at their stories and, but you do know that it's not reality, right? On the most part, or what you're perceiving is not necessarily reality. You're seeing a glimpse of somebody as to what they're putting out there. So the comparison thing just doesn't help. So you need to stop comparing yourself with others because you don't know their true story. If they are telling the truth, and I know people on there that doesn't, but if they are telling the truth, which is fine, you don't know how they got there and what they had to do. So you may just be seeing the finished product of this person, but not knowing the journey it took for them to get there. And likewise, people very rarely put out the bad, right? They're usually going to put out the good. Let's be honest, right? So you're only seeing a small glimpse. That whole comparison thing, you don't want that to be feeding into you where you're thinking you are less than and that you are indeed an imposter. And then practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Gosh, we can be so hard. And I'm talking from experience. We can be so hard with the stories and the thing we tell ourselves. And what we don't do sometimes is just show kindness to ourselves. We can show it to other people, but we're not very good at doing it to ourselves. If you have taken a step forward on your journey for building wealth or whatever it is that you want to call it, when you have achieved that step or a step, no matter how small it is, turn around to yourself and say, well done. You did that. Well done. Learn to be kind to yourself and learn to also reward yourself for the milestones that you are taking and that you're achieving and that you are making. You 100% deserve it, but only you can tell yourself that. So it really does help to be around people that are positive, that you can talk to, or communities. I talk about communities a lot, as you know, because I'm a big believer in communities. But perhaps you need to find yourself more around positive people and people who are genuine and real, that you can really talk to and realize you're not the only one who feels like this, right? I mean, some of the most successful people in the world still feels imposter syndrome. I still get it sometimes. The difference is I've learned to recognize it. And when I recognize it, I can then turn it around and reframe whatever that negative thought that's come into my head and try to remember to turn it into something positive and tell myself, yeah, you've worked hard, girl, you've deserved this. So I need you guys to turn around and do that to yourself. So we know it is very, very real and it can affect your finances, and you don't want that to happen. You deserve everything that you've worked for. And even if you've inherited it, or even if somebody gifted you with something, your personality, something in you made them gift you. So fight imposter syndrome in financial success and don't let it stop you from getting where you need and want to be. Thank you guys for listening. You know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And remember, this is free, so share it. Let the whole world know. If you know somebody suffering with imposter syndrome, send them the video. You never know how you could be helping someone to achieve all that they can be. Thank you and see you next time.